Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have here once again Anton Mastroianni. Anton, it's good to have you back on. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on, bro.
You're welcome. And so today we're going to be talking about working with spirits, how to keep yourself safe. When beginners start to work with spirits, discernment, etc. But let's start off with I would say that if you're a beginner and you want to start working with spirits, I would say that it's good to meditate, get a solid foundation on meditation beforehand so that your intuition is sharpened when a spirit comes forth. Would you agree?
I 100% agree with that. If you can't sense energies, you won't be able to sense spirit's presence. And most
Mm-hmm.
importantly, you won't be able to sense who the spirit is or which type of spirit it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
because a lot of times they'll come in and there's a lot of trickster spirits out there where you think that you're calling up a certain spirit, but another spirit is pretending to be that spirit to harness that and absorb that energy.
yeah, that is a big problem for beginners, mainly because beginners don't know that sacred spaces are a thing or how to
Mm-hmm.
raise a sacred space. There's many methods to actually raising a sacred space. I like to do it energy wise, raising specific energies, lighting specific incense, having wards and protections as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much keeps imposter spirits away. They have negative intentions. Anything with a negative intention will be sort of warded off.
Mm-hmm. Now, would you say that, let's say, a spirit that may have a malicious intent would, like, let's say, if you're contacting a deity or any other type of spirit, um, it's kind of like imagine if you're playing a song on a piano. The song is playing. That's what the vibration sounds like. However, if something has a malicious intent, the keys may sound the vibration. That's like the keys in the song may sound a little off. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Yeah,
Mm,
definitely. For me, I haven't really had to encounter a lot of imposters because
right.
from the start it was always the spirit that I wanted to connect with due to past life connections.
Mm-hmm.
But I have encountered later on in the track certain spirits trying to pretend to be, someone like my patron. And once you've actually worked with the legit spirit, for example, Lucifer, you'll know his energy. It's very familiar, it's very intense, and it's very hard to replicate, even for imposters. So
Mm-hmm.
when an imposter sort of enters your space and tries to pretend to be Lucifer, they can't get that energy exactly right. And you can just pick up immediately that it's just not him.
Yeah, it's kind of like if it's kind of like if say you hear that let's say you're working a job and your coworkers tell you, oh, someone new is coming onto the job. This is what I hear about him. This is what he's like. Da, 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 da. I know him. Okay. Now, if you know him beforehand, you can recognize when you meet him in person. However, if you don't, and all you do is just read about it or just hear things, anyone can impersonate that person and come to you. I guess that's not the best analogy, but you're right in becoming familiar. The more you work with them, the more you recognize their energy. That is 100% correct.
Hmm. It was a good analogy. It made a lot of sense to me.
Right on. Also, I've noticed that when you do magic, um, it is good to keep your space clean. Don't leave your area, your home messy. It's good just to keep it clean because you get a better energetic current. And I think that if you have a clean home, that you will be able to pick up on those vibrations if they're off, if something is not right. And I would also
Hmm.
say that practicing ritual magic is something that does sharpen your intuition and allows you to begin to discern better. That's my take. What do you think about that?
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Practicing any form of magic, meditation, or participating in rituals, even if it's for 5 to 10, 15 minutes a day, doesn't matter what type of meditation, what type of practice, but it will sharpen your overall senses. It's like working out.
Mm.
Whenever you work out, your body is going to be strengthened. Same thing with your spiritual self, your spiritual body. It's going to be strengthened in one way or another, and that will heighten your other senses as well. In terms of keeping your home clean, when you keep it clean, it doesn't attract parasites, doesn't attract certain spirits who like to hang around certain energies, right?
Mm.
It's like having a filthy home. If you have a filthy home, there's garbage everywhere, bugs are going to come, ants are going to crawl through your house. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very true. Um, are there any experiences that you have that you could tell, like maybe when you came across a trickster spirit? So you had, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, there was a few. They were never in my own home. My home's always been very well watered.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I would go to other people's houses and things would pop in and it would try to speak to me uh, clairaudient wise and sort of play off that it is my patron trying to speak to me. And you can just tell immediately, like, nah, it's not that. You're not my patron, kind of thing. The energy's off, the way it speaks is off. It's like, nah, man, come on, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's always external, never in nature,
Mm-hmm.
always in other people's houses, depending on who the person is. Um, if, for example, if their house isn't clean energy wise, it's going to be filled with all types of spirits. It's like a flame to moths, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And that really does, go along the lines with that saying, as above, so below. I mean, this plane is really, in a sense, a mirror of the spiritual plane. Like, like we were saying, if you don't keep your home clean, it can attract, bugs and stuff like that coming in, and also parasite spirits, trickster spirits, So, I mean, if you have the eyes to see like that and continue to compare this plane to, the spirit world, you'll be able to see more. But you have to have that mindset, you know. And it's easy to get distracted with day-to-day stuff, which I think that's why we are distracted with day-to-day stuff. I mean, there's so much entertainment options, there's movies to watch, places to go, things you could do, that I have a feeling that maybe the establishment wants us constantly distracted so that we don't have time or interest to focus on the spirit world and see the bigger picture. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. It's actually something I think about very, very often. It all comes down to discipline, mostly discipline. If you're disciplined with your craft, you're probably not going to be watching TV a lot. You're not going to be eating certain foods. You're going to know that if you eat fruits, vegetables, you're going to be healthy and your energy is going to vibrate differently compared to
Mm-hmm.
when you're constantly eating ice cream or burgers from Macca's, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it affects your actual spirituality. Um, I don't watch a lot of TV myself. I don't watch the news, anything like that. It's very rare. I actually sit down and watch a movie simply because I'm too busy either doing rituals, training, or work. When it comes to work, the system has sort of created this need to work to survive, to live, right? And that chews up a large amount of our time, our energy. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people can't do a lot of things after work because they're too tired, mentally drained. That sort of taxes on the person and leaves a taste of unmotivation. Oh, I'm too tired to do a ritual. I haven't got enough time to do a ritual. Like, I can't meditate. I'm too tired. I don't have the time. Stuff sort of like that. Um, it's very interesting to see and experience as I sort of move forward in life as well.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I'll admit, there's been times when, I've slacked on that because I'm so tired when I get home from work. I tell myself, I have told myself before, like, oh, I don't have time to, meditate or to study or to, do any kind of spirit work because I just want to catch this movie on Hulu or Netflix or something, and I deserve some entertainment, but it's good just to focus on the bigger picture. What are we really here for? What are the consequences of not doing that, of not paying attention to spiritual work? I think that's what people have to focus on, because that's what it comes down to. I mean, when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to say, I wish I'd have watched more TV. I wish I'd have put more hours in at work. You want to focus on put the spiritual side as your top priority, because that's really what matters in the end.
Definitely, man. I agree 100%. That goes hand in hand with an old saying that I heard a while ago. You can choose either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. It's up to us to decide which one we actually go
That's
through.
a very good quote. That's
It's
a very
one
good
of my favorite.
Since what?
But, pardon?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It's actually one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah, it is. It is. It definitely hits home. Um, so, I guess we could also talk about other ways to sharpen your intuition. So I think one way that has helped me is that maybe focusing on a clock and then just seeing the hands move and just stare at it until it goes all the way around, maybe all the way around so many times. That's one thing that's helped me. Um, but is there any other methods that have helped you sharpen your intuition or just becoming more familiar with spirituality in general?
One thing that helped my intuition a lot, being able to sort of divinate and read into things, is a
Mm-hmm.
daily tarot card pull.
Yeah.
When I wake up, I'll shuffle my deck, pull a card out, and when I was fresh into it, look into the card's meaning. And throughout the day, I'd sort of just subtly pay attention to certain signs, synchronicities that would match the meaning for that card. And 100% of the time, I saw them. And that sort of taught me how to see signs, see synchronicities. This was sort of at a stage where I was struggling with spirit communication as well, because I was a beginner, hearing the spirits, being able to feel their presence strongly all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, divination comes to me mostly without tools. I either speak to certain spirits or I just see flashes of what it is. I hear words for what it is, stuff like that.
Yeah. You mentioned about divination. I think that's interesting you brought that up because, if you are unclear on whether a spirit is who they say they are or who they're supposed to be, you know, you could do divination on it. You could pull out your tarot cards or your pendulum and ask them, is this who they say they are? Now, if you think that your ego is influencing the cards or your divination method, you can actually message or call a friend and say, hey, can you do a reading for me? Because I want a second opinion on this just to make sure. Now, you mentioned about, paying attention to the signs when you're out and about in your everyday life. I guess you could take a look at it as, if you remember in the movie The Matrix, where every time Morpheus or anybody, on their crew wanted to give Neo a sign or tell him something, they'll just cause something to happen in the Matrix. It might be someone walking by, might be numbers he sees along his path. I think that's one way that the gods or the spirits try to give us signs and tell us things in everyday life by just setting things our way. You look at it as the same analogy in studying that movie. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. I get a lot of numbers on number plates, clocks, signs in public, and it happens frequently throughout the day. I will get 222, 666, and it's like a magnetic pull. Like I won't even actively be looking for numbers. Like I'll just sort of have an urge to look somewhere, and that number is there on a number plate, etc. But there's a lot more really like in your face signs that sort of freak you out a little bit. Even like after doing this for 4 years, it still sort of, not creeps me out, but it's like, wow, kind of thing. I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
I was in the gym last week, and there's a guy in my gym. He's not many people talk to him, but I talk to him. I'm nice to him. We talk a lot. I encourage him and help him with his training.
Right.
And that night, I was going to do another war empowerment, just to sort of repeat it, right, with all the gods of war. And I left the gym to go do the ritual, and I said bye to him and walked away. As I was walking away, he literally sits there and goes, "The gods of war are with you." And like, I'm walking away, so I just turned around and looked at him like, what did you just say? Like, kind of thing. Like, he's a funny dude, man. He watches a lot of anime and all this stuff, but he's a real great guy. And it was the way he said it as well. Like, his voice just changed, and like the atmosphere just went dead silent. It was it was creepy.
Well, so a lot of people forget that this is really a simulation. This whole life experience we're having, it's really a simulation. And like I was saying, again, with the movie The Matrix, people are entertained and they live in their bubble. They don't want to be unplugged. Morpheus says some people are not ready to be unplugged, but again, to look at the bigger picture, focus on the real world, focus, don't get caught up in becoming a battery for, whatever parasites are trying to suck life out of us by sticking us in this situation. So I
definitely
throw that out there.
I would add, change the system to your own benefit. Manifest your best life through this system. I used to despise work. It got in the way of my spirituality, got in the way of my hobbies. It drained me. I was working for someone else, making him money, doing something I didn't enjoy. And I sort of started to talk to the spirits about this, and we devised a plan to get into something that I'm passionate about, something that gives me enough free time to work on my spirituality, something that can be my own business, sort of freelancing, doing PTs, that sort of thing, which is what I'm working towards now.
Okay.
That stuff's already in the system, but you got to change it, morph it, use it to your advantage to create the best life possible for you. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever gives you enough time to do what you want throughout the day, stuff like that.
Agreed. I mean, people don't realize that some of what magic is hacking the system, hacking the matrix. I mean, it's like you can imagine that this life is kind of like a video game. And, studying magic, practicing your book of shadows, that's like your code book where you can put codes in to, get extra stuff along the way that's going to help you out. Not to say that it's going to be a cakewalk, doing spells. Oh, life's going to be easy now. No. Because we have to learn things. The gods want us to learn things and to sharpen our perception and have different life experiences. Sometimes, that's why I don't really like to judge people. Like when, let's say if you're like some big shot millionaire and you walk by and you see a janitor, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you're better than them, because maybe they're there because they have to learn something. If anything, they could be more powerful at hacking the matrix than you are, even though you're some big shot millionaire. But that person, maybe they're just because they have to learn something. That's where they're placed. They're there for a reason. So, I don't like to judge anybody, on what they do or where they're at in life, because that's not the bigger picture.
Definitely. I agree with that 100%, man. Like, I don't judge anyone either because everyone has their shadows. Everyone has things they've been through. Everyone has secrets or things they don't like people to see, reasons why they do certain things.
Yeah.
Um, Another big reason is everyone's human. We all bleed. You know what I mean? No one is invincible at the end of the day. That's why I don't judge anyone. A millionaire could have a heart attack one day. A janitor could live 50, 30 more years than him. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Uh,
day, that is not going to give you a longer life.
hmm Yeah. Yeah. But like I was saying, just focus on magic, focus on your spirituality, focus on the bigger picture. Um, so how's your spiritual life been going lately?
It's been going really good. I've actually been focusing more on the physical,
Hmm.
um, sort of creating the life that I want. That doesn't mean necessarily becoming a millionaire or becoming super rich, just comfortable enough to where I can do what I need to do and focus on my path.
Hmm.
Um, that's basically where I'm at now with my
Hmm.
spiritual path, just tailoring my physical reality, so to speak.
I'd say the same with me. You had mentioned about pulling out a card every day, when you wake up, or when you're getting ready for, your day. I had said this in a previous video years back, where one thing you can do is, just pull out your tarot deck and just start shuffling it and just start thinking of, how is my day going to go? And then just pull out three cards, and then, three card reading, just bam, bam, bam. Man, you'll notice that it's like, day, morning, afternoon, evening. You'll notice at the end of the day that predicted how your day was going to go. There's all kind of creative things you can do with tarot and different divination methods, to where you can kind of see things from a different perspective of where you are.
Mm,
Yeah. They can get
definitely.
quite fun.
Yeah, definitely, man. You can use it to your advantage as well. If you're going into sort of an unknown situation,
Hmm.
or you don't know how a certain thing is going to turn out, like a job interview, a party, a date, for example,
Hmm.
or just generally you can get insights on how your day is going to go and know what to look out for, know how to navigate your day. Because we wake up some days and we don't know if it's going to be a good or bad day or if something's going to happen.
Hmm.
I can give you just a hypothetical example. You do a card pull, it's a negative card, and something harmful might actually happen that day, right? So you're sort of just subtly looking for something that might go wrong. You could avoid a car crash, a work incident, stuff like that. You can really use divination to your advantage beyond spirit communication and ritual work itself.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and again, the bigger picture. If someone is constantly caught up in entertainment, you know, and let's say that they would have had uh, a chance to see that car crash if their intuition was sharp enough. They could just avoid it altogether. You had mentioned about getting numbers in your everyday life. I think that one important thing to do if you're on a spiritual path is to constantly be submerged in numerology. Numerology is so important because, if this is a simulation, that means that everything is a number. Everything is numbers everywhere you look. So in your head, you want to constantly calculate and do things according to numerology. Like, let's say if you're upset about, um, let's say if you're in a situation where you're not able to pay rent, you might get thrown out on the street. Your things are unstable at your job. You might want to focus on the number four and do things in fours, because four means stability. There's four legs to a table. You know what I mean? It keeps you stable. And as you focus on the number 4, then you'll attract that energy. You'll attract stable energy. Things may straighten out of your job. Your landlord may say, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, just give me half the rent now. And then next paycheck, you just make it good. Things like that will pop up. So that's just one thing that I like to stress on people, is that focus on numerology. You agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. I struggle with the meaning of numbers. 4 for me is a big protection number, because if you think about it, you're in a room. A room protects you from the weather. There's 4 sides to a room, 4 walls.
Yeah.
And whenever there's been sort of instances of, a witch war, for example, or just general curses being flung around, I'll have the number 4 pop up a lot. I did a working with Pazuzu recently for protection. And I was being a bit lazy. I didn't want to get him his offering straight away after work. And he's like, no, go to the butcher, get me the cow heart, and you'll see. And I was like, okay, cool. So I get there. The price of the cow heart was $4.44. 444. So I was like, okay, I get it now, yeah, kind of thing. And did the protection working with him, and everything's been very swell.
Yeah, very good analogy. So, but yeah, so now let's talk a bit about Occult and Belial. It's good to see that you guys are growing, and your group is growing in numbers, your channel's growing. You guys are pumping out some really good content. Do you guys have anything planned for the near future?
We are planning the release of the book sometime next year, shortly after the New Year's.
Okay.
We pretty much have the book done. We just got to get the illustrations done, figure out the publishing, and just get the final copy done, pretty much. Okay. In terms of the order, we're channeling all the rituals still. Cliffofic initiations for each sphere, a Belial initiation, and then later on, more advanced workings in specific systems of magic, vampirism, necromancy, stuff like that, pretty much. So after you go through the initial stages of initiation and empowerment, you can pretty much select whatever system or school of magic you want to go learn and do rituals with you, give you initiations, teachings, stuff like that. That's pretty much the outline and working for the order itself. We went with a different direction on it because Belial wanted more unique, original stuff, something that's never been done in any other order before. Prior, we were going to use some rituals that are used in other orders in the past, and he didn't want that. He wants original, brand new stuff straight from him, which I agree with.
Okay, we're looking forward to that. And we'll definitely have you back on once you guys do release that, so that we can promote it. Maybe we'll bring Paulo on or someone else on the Code Belial team, to mix things up a little bit. But everybody who's watching, I will have all of Cult of Belial's links below in the video description, so you guys can check that out. Give those all a follow. Their Facebook group, their Instagram page, YouTube channel, all that stuff. It's all good stuff, and it's not, like I was saying, it's not rehashed content. It's channel information. It's new information, stuff that will help you out. Very powerful stuff. But thanks, Anton, for coming on again. It's always fun talking with you.
Thank you very much for having me on, and thank you for the compliments, bro.
Yeah, no problem. And everybody who's watching, hail Belial, and like and subscribe to Dark Sorcery.